and welcome back to another edition of the Red Mountain Express. I am your host, Blake Westbrook, and joining me as always is Matthew Joyner. Mr. Joyner, how you feeling today, buddy?
Doing good, man. I'm a little bit tired, but overall doing good. Had a good weekend. What about you?
I'm doing really good. Now, you told me off the air that you went canoeing this weekend.
Yeah. So the wife and I were in Tennessee this weekend. Friday night we were with my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and my niece. Spent some time with them, and then got up Saturday morning and met a group of friends on the Elk River in Lincoln County, Tennessee. It's just a little bit north of the state line. And we spent about 3.5, 4 hours canoeing down the Elk River there. Had a great time. The weather was perfect for it.
You look like you got some sun.
Yeah. The sun was out in full force. It had rained the night before, though, so the water was still really cold. And thankfully didn't get sunburned. Was really worried about that. Nobody on the trip did, so, yay adulting. But had a good time. Yeah, so what about you?
Yeah, we had a pretty low-key weekend. We did get to go to a family reunion up at Lake Gunnersville. Pretty lake. If you haven't been up there, please take some time to go up there and check it out. Saw some family, had some good food. We had family come in from Texas. It's my wife's side of the family, so it was good to see them. And then we, headed back here and actually here with you now, recording this episode. So, like I said, low-key weekend, getting ready for a big week for me here in Birmingham. So we have a great show for everybody here today. A little bit later, we're going to be playing our interview with Jason Johnson of Original Bham. We met up with him at Octane in Homewood. Really good interview, so stick around for that. But before we get to that, we have a couple things we want to discuss on the podcast today. One of the things that's starting this week is Restaurant Week. It starts on Friday, the 11th, and runs until Sunday, the 20th. Matthew, basically, this is where a bunch of restaurants have gotten together. You can go into the restaurants and you can sample their food at different levels, correct?
Yeah, so I think, it was started by one of the guys involved with Rev Birmingham several years back. And I think there's somewhere around 70 restaurants that are tied into this. And so they come up with prefixed menus at different price points. So at lunch, you might find a $15 menu and a $30 menu. Then at supper, you might find somewhere between $10 and $40 menu. And you get for that price, you get to sample, whatever that restaurant wants to showcase that week. So I think it's a really cool thing. I have inadvertently been a part of Restaurant Week a couple of times, going to eat lunch during the week last year. And finding restaurants that had those deals going on, I thought it was pretty cool.
What restaurant did you go to last year?
The one that I can think of off the top of my head was I Cantina. They had
they're really good.
Yeah, they had a couple of different options for lunch.
Area, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty cool event. I have not taken full advantage of it. I would like to. I think it would be cool to maybe take the wife and go out to a couple different places this week, or I guess next week. And I don't know, it's a good chance for all of the different restaurants to really kind of show off.
Well, the good thing about it is one, it's a ton of restaurants, and it's at every price level. I mean, you have barbecue joints like Rusty's and Leeds, one of my favorite barbecue places because the white sauce is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
All the way to Ovenberg, which I know me and you have both been to.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can basically say, what kind of food do you want that day or that night, and pick from a list. It kind of leads into our next story is that the Southern Living just published an article. It came out on August 2nd. It's called 15 Southern Cities All Food Lovers Should Visit Now. You can check it out on their website at southernliving.com. And first on the list is Birmingham. Now, yes, I do know that Southern Living is located in the city of Birmingham, and yes, I do believe that their writers do probably go to Birmingham restaurants more than anywhere else. But when I looked at the list, I was shocked that it's not just your normal, Memphis and Atlanta. It had other cities such as, Chapel Hill in North Carolina. It talks about, barbecue and some seafood places there, to Lafayette, Louisiana, where actually I was born a long time ago. So just to kind of give you an overview of what the article says, it says, don't miss Chez Fon Fon, Big Spoon Creamery, Pizitz Food Hall, filled with a collection of globally influenced vendors, Atomic Lounge for the inventive, not pretentious drinks, Johnny's in Homewood neighborhood, and Saul's Soul Kitchen for Alabama's white sauce covered barbecue. White sauce again, I guess, is a theme today.
Yeah.
I have been to most of the places on this list. Chez Fon Fon, it's a French place downtown. It is one of my favorite places. Fon Fon Burger is kind of the best thing on the menu in my opinion. And I know you've been to everywhere on the list except for Chez Fon Fon.
Yeah,
right?
Chez Fon Fon is the one place where I think I've heard it talked about 1,000 times. I'm familiar with the things they offer on the menu, and so when it gets brought up, I feel like I've been there, but I don't honestly know if I've actually been through the doors of Chez Fon Fon. But everywhere else I've been to and tried at least once.
Well, one of the places on the list that Southern Living talked about was the Atomic Lounge. I have never been there, but we were talking about this off the air briefly. Tell me about that a little bit more. I know you said you've been there a couple times.
I've been there once, and my wife has been there once. And so basically, it's I think one of the bartenders from Collins Bar opened the Atomic Lounge, and they have a small menu of specialty drinks that are all excellent. I think I've tried all but one of them. And then, of course, they have a full bar so they can get whatever drink you want. Then they also have a costume closet, so you can select from a list of costumes to wear while you're there and have fun. I haven't done that, but when I've been there, I've seen a couple people in Elvis costumes. There was a person in a penguin costume. I saw a shark.
Batman was not having a drink with Superman.
I didn't see Batman, or I don't remember seeing Batman, but he may have been there.
He was just Bruce Wayne.
Good point. It was really great drinks. It's a really cool bar. Walking in and not knowing what to expect can kind of throw you off when you see people wearing the costumes. But everybody looked like they were having a great time. So I can't knock that at all, even though I didn't put on a costume myself. I found it odd that it was on this list for Southern Living, but I guess they did mention the drinks specifically. I don't know that they serve any food there. But man, yeah, the drinks were well crafted.
I think this kind of points to something we've talked about before, that how Birmingham, this is just another list that Birmingham is on that's very positive. We've seen lists before where Birmingham is the worst place to live and that the crime rate is terrible, and but this is one of those lists that highlights a very positive thing about Birmingham. And to be honest with you, with something like Restaurant Week, I would like to see that kind of expanded to something like Bars and Brewery Week, where we can there's how many breweries in this town, including bars, where we can really focus on Birmingham's nightlife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that there may be more positive lists that we're on out there than negative list, and I think that's a good thing. Birmingham has a lot to offer, from restaurants to breweries to specialty bars to small businesses that are creating unique items that can be found within the state and maybe even on a national level. I don't know. I just personally, the more positive things that are out there about us and the more people we can get interested in Birmingham or even Alabama as a whole, the better off we are. There's people out there in the surrounding region or even in the greater U.S. as a whole that really only know about Birmingham by name and don't really know what we have to offer. So, yeah, if you're out there listening and you own a publication, man, make more positive lists and put us on it.
Well, listen, we're going to cut to our interview here in a minute with Rachel Bham. By the way, in the interview, I talked about how I saw they had these Alabama Theater socks. And I actually did make a purchase, and those socks are on the way to the house. And I bought those, just kind of a quick story before we go. I bought those because that was my front door to Birmingham. I'd never been to Birmingham before, really never spent a lot of time in Birmingham, and my wife brought me to the Alabama Theater when we first started dating, and we saw It's a Wonderful Life, and it's kind of evolved into a tradition. And so when I saw that on their website, I said that's something I have to have. But we'll be back in a second with an interview with Jason Johnson of Original Bham. But first, let's take a break and listen to our good folks over at Beecham Woodworks and talk about the great things they got going over there. So we'll be back in a minute. Beecham Woodworks is a locally owned and operated wood shop in Birmingham, Alabama, specializing in custom furniture and small home goods. Chris and Kanan Beecham create a wide variety of unique pieces of all sizes, ranging from cutting boards to farmhouse tables. Using wood sourced from Alabama sawmills, Beach and Woodworks creates affordable, quality pieces that will be a one-of-a-kind fixture for your home. So support your local woodworker and visit redmountainexpress.com/woodworks or check them out on their Facebook and Instagram accounts. Beach and Woodworks, turning your house into a home. And welcome back to the Red Mountain Express. We're coming to you from the Octane Coffee Bar located over the mountain in Homewood. Our guest today is Jason Johnson. Jason is the co-founder of Original Bham. You may know them by their locally famous bumper sticker with the capital B and the ham hock, and that is confirmed it's a ham hock. But it turns out they do a lot more than just that, and we're glad to have them with us today. Jason, thank you for being with us.
Hey, glad to be here.
If you don't mind, start out by telling us a bit about yourself and kind of the story behind Original Bham.
Well, I'm not a native to Birmingham, like a lot of us aren't these days. More people moving into the area. So I'm from California. Grew up in Southern California and relocated with work, a corporate job, to Atlanta. Lived there 16 years and then relocated here in 2012. So 5 years ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Tell us how you you started Original Bham. What kind of was the story behind that?
Sure. Coming from Atlanta, everybody in Atlanta had those little Euro bumper stickers, the little oval-shaped bumper stickers. All the local areas, neighborhoods, cities had them. When we moved here, I didn't see them. And it was just sort of obvious to me that they were missing. And it's not that that was a big thing for me, but I just noticed it. And then kind of familiarizing ourselves with with the area, we started hearing Bham this, Bham that. Didn't really realize the city was called Bham, and those two things just kind of came together. And I thought that'd make kind of a cool bumper sticker. So I just assembled it all one night and had some stickers made, and that was that.
Gotcha.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Kind of a whim.
Was there a reason or a logic behind choosing mostly just Birmingham to focus on with your products?
Well, we lived here,
okay,
and it made it easier.
Sure.
But Bham just was such an easy image to capture that we went with that, and people got interested in it pretty quickly. I was surprised at how quickly it took off. I kind of had a hunch people may like it, but no idea it was going to become kind of a phenomenon so quickly. So we pretty much focused on Birmingham, and honestly, the time that I came up with this, we were so new to the city. We'd only been here about 9 months. I didn't even really realize what was going on in Birmingham as far as this whole revitalization of everything.
Now, when you started to produce the bumper sticker that we all see around town, was that just kind of the extent of it? Like, let's just do a bumper sticker? Or was this kind of a grand scheme of, I want to start a company?
There was no grand scheme. I've always had little art projects I did on the side. At the time I did this, I was painting, had some paintings in some local little stores and galleries, and this just was something that came out of a desire to be creative. And I thought the bumper stickers would be cool, see how those go. Never really imagined it was going to take off much from there, but it wasn't long before people were like, hey, do you have a t-shirt with this on it? So
was that the point that you said, wow, this is taking off more than I thought it would?
No, even then I thought, yeah, that was a step further than I expected.
Yeah.
But I bought a little rig, learned how to do screen printing in my basement, did a few shirts, sold a few shirts, and the demand for that became a little more increased. I had a real modest website going at that time. Did a couple of little local markets, saw that people were interested, and at that point, yeah, it really started feeling like this is a little bigger than I even imagined. And now we've got hats and coffee mugs and you name it. And again, not realizing what was happening in the city at the time this all really started, and then learning that later how important this whole kind of revolution has become. The timing couldn't have been better. So.
I was going to say nearly all of your items focus upon Birmingham. You did release a shirt we talked about off air, the Dothan City or Circle City shirt. Do you see your brand expanding to include more non-Birmingham goods?
Yeah, that's a possibility. I think Alabama is a place that has so much state and civic pride. It's kind of unique. I mean, there's a lot of that. There's sort of a resurgence of that, I think, throughout the country. But Alabama, a lot of pride in this state. So, there's the opportunities for expanding into other areas. We don't have any master plan in that front. If something comes up that looks interesting, we may do it. The Dothan thing was a good example. Circle City is a, kind of a unique.
It's like we said. I told you, we worked down in Dothan briefly, and everything's on the circle. And when I saw that, I was like, that's perfect for folks in Dothan.
Yeah, and that came as a suggestion to us. Someone said, hey, you should look into doing this for Dothan. So we put our wheels turning and came up with that. We've had similar comments about you should do Huntsville, you should do Montgomery. So we'll see.
Okay. Yeah. With all the other companies out there now, I guess, doing bumper stickers or vintage shirts or coffee cups, why do you think that Original Bham has seen the success it has? What do you think makes Original Bham stand out as a company?
I think the instant recognizability, if that's a word. It's a recognizability.
I think that works.
That'll work.
It's an instantly recognizable image. It doesn't take much to figure out, although some people really stare at it for a while before they come around. But it doesn't take a whole lot to see it and realize what it's trying to get across. So I think the simplicity of it has helped. And again, the timing just was perfect. I mean, things were really starting to kick into gear with more and more entrepreneurial efforts to kind of capitalize on the growth, and excitement that's in Birmingham. We just kind of came in with that wave.
I know you said that you had little art projects on the side, and this was one of them. Is this still a solo endeavor? I mean, or has this kind of expanded to employ maybe other folks, or is this still you producing shirts, hats, bumper stickers, and other products?
This is me. And I've got my wife and 4 children. I got 4 teenagers who help to varying degrees. My wife, of course, is a huge support and help, but it's a family business. Runs in a lot of ways out of our garage, and that's just where it is. The ironic thing is that it's become popular enough that people think we're much bigger than we are, that we have employees. I'll get emails like, that coffee mug was broken when it got here. You need to talk to your shipping department. Like, yeah, okay, I'll get right on it.
Honey,
but it was me. Yeah, exactly.
The coffee things are broken again.
Yeah, so that's kind of humorous.
Do you do all the printing yourself?
I don't. I did at first, but just couldn't keep up with it.
Sure.
I've got a full-time day job, and running a screen printing business out of my basement just didn't fit into the calendar.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of owning and working on Original Bham?
For us, we were new when we started this, and Birmingham was a tough place for us to fit into. Not that people aren't friendly, but there's a lot of people that have lived here for a long time, and they've got family and connections that we didn't have. It's kind of hard to feel like you fit into that. So I think the thing that's changed the most for us is feeling like we're really part of the community. Once we started meeting people who were also excited about Birmingham, and they shared with us their excitement for our products, we just felt a connection that we didn't really have before to the city, and that's been really exciting.
A lot of the revitalization that's going on in Birmingham is kind of centered around locally owned small businesses like Original Bham. So my question is do you have any advice for those that are either entrepreneurs or creators of a small business that may be listening? Do you have any advice to say, how to get started or just kind of go with it and see where it takes you?
With any small business, there's a lot of work, a lot of hustle. There's a lot of luck, too. I mean, there's right place, the right time. There's just the right circumstances falling into place. You can't really control those. But I would encourage anyone that's got an idea to pursue it as far as you can. Just don't give up on it. Be smart. Make sure you're doing all the things you need to do to support yourself at the same time, but pursue those kind of dreams and see where they go. We've done that. It's been a lot of fun, and things have fallen into place, but a lot of hard work involved too. There's lots of cold calls and emailing and calling and walking in stores and getting people interested. That there's no replacement for that.
And you are located in stores too, right? Y'all have products in stores. How many stores do you have right now?
I couldn't tell you the number. Probably 7 or 8 around town. Some of our biggest clients are Alabama Outdoors and Mountain High Outfitters. Those two are really popular local businesses that have taken on wholesale accounts with us, and so have that outlet has been really kind of a life changer for our business. Just to get the product out and that volume to that number of people has been great.
And you're still doing the farmers markets here and there.
We
too,
do.
right?
We do Pepper Place every couple of weeks. It's kind of random sometimes when you're scheduled out there, but yeah, Pepper Place has been really huge as well. And probably before we even had those wholesale accounts with local retailers, we were at Pepper Place, and I think the popularity of our brand really was born there because they have such a huge number of people go through there each week. The word spread just by word of mouth that we were there, and it helped us a great deal.
Sure. You're still surprised when you go around town and see the stickers on the back of people's
Yeah.
cars? Or you just like, wow, I still can't believe that?
It's still kind of mind-boggling. And the first time we saw it, we're like, yes, look at our sticker. Look, it's on the back of that minivan. Now you see it all the time, but that excitement hasn't really worn off. It's still the satisfaction of knowing that you came up with something that people like and that they liked it enough to put it on their car and drive around with it. That's pretty cool. We see shirts, and you'd be at Target, someone's wearing your shirt, and it's pretty cool. You almost want to go, hey, but you don't.
Okay.
But it's just cool to see it. So.
Good. So 2 weeks ago, Blake and I had a small debate on our show about an open-air stadium versus a dome in Birmingham. Now, we asked Hunter Williams last week, and I'm going to keep trying to push this issue to see what kind of votes we can get. So,
he's gonna ask everybody we interview.
So can you weigh in, just briefly, open-air stadium versus dome in Birmingham? Do you think we need it? Which one do you think we need the most?
I like dome.
You like dome.
See,
okay.
The weather is just too questionable.
That bumper sticker on top of the dome.
Well, exactly.
And so when a blimp flies over, they'll see the Bham. See, I think big, man. Big.
Fair enough.
I didn't even go there, but that's perfect.
What do you?
The weather calls for a dome
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I think that's fair. What do you think is next for original Bham?
I don't know because it's developed in ways I didn't really foresee, and as you asked earlier, I didn't have a master plan with this, so it's kind of evolved as we went along. It doesn't mean I don't plan, but it's surprised me. I definitely know we're going to expand our product line this fall. We're coming up with more fall type clothing, apparel options. We're expanding our hat line. People asking for different colors, different styles of hats, even some different designs that still incorporate Bham in them. But
I liked the Alabama Theater socks. And I'm going to order some for my wife, and she loves Alabama Theater. So
awesome.
So anyway.
Well, socks, that was something we added last year. So basically just the expansion of the product line is probably the biggest thing. I don't know how far that'll go, but we'll just see 1 year at a time.
Awesome.
Well, listen, Jason, thank you so much for joining us. Before we go, just tell our listeners where they can learn more about Original Bham and where they can find your products.
Sure. You can go to originalbham.com. You can shop online there. There's also a link on there. You can link to our retailers, so you can find all those retailers that I couldn't remember the whole list, and shop direct retail out there in the community.
And are there any dates coming up for farmers markets like Pepper Place that you're going to be at?
We'll be at Pepper Place this weekend.
Okay.
And actually the next couple of weeks through the month of September. You can find us at Rossbridge. Generally the same weekend as Pepper Place. We'll be out there on Friday nights, have a farmers market out there that's pretty cool and it's growing. Mm-hmm. So you can find us.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us. That's going to do it for this edition of the Red Mountain Express. Again, I'd like to thank our guest, Jason Johnson from Original Bham. Please be sure to check them out at originalbham.com. Remember to subscribe to us on iTunes, YouTube, or your favorite podcast app, and just take a minute and rate us and review us on our iTunes page. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for any and all updates. We'll see you next week. For Matthew Joyner, I am Blake Westbrook. This has been the Red Mountain Express.